Hello everyone, this is the N64 Punk with yet another video. When I did some outdoor decor Christmas shopping today, and our last stop was Walmart, and they had a system I've been wanting to get for quite a very long time for a numerous of reasons that I'll go through in this video of why I chose this system. Right here, which you can probably already assume from the bag of what system this is. It is indeed a Nintendo product. And yes, please don't judge me. I picked up Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I never thought in a million years I'd buy a Hello Kitty game, but apparently people say this game is actually really, really good, and it's... I can't say exactly like an Animal Crossing game, but it's got some similar... It's like a Sims Life type game, so, I figured I'd give it a shot. It looked really, really good for the Switch. Beautiful graphics and everything, so $40. Why not? Give it a shot. Also picked up Epic Mickey, which I've never played this game before. I've been kind of hesitant to get on the Switch. I kind of wanted to get for the PS5, but just having a portable version, would be great. So, as long as it performs good. And then Sonic Shadow Generations, which this looks like it might be a pretty fun game. So I decided to pick that up too. But yep, I went and got the Nintendo... Whoops. I picked the Switch Lite over the Nintendo Switch 2. And I got the... I think they call it the dark blue one, but it's honestly more of a purpley color. Very reminiscent of the Game Boy Advance, the purple one that came out in the late 90s. Or was it early 2000s? When did the Game Boy Advance come out? I know the SP came out in... it had been like the 90s, I think. Well, whatever. But yeah, I decided to pick up a Switch Lite. And I do own a OLED Switch. I originally owned the first generation of the Switch, but I sold the console, like just the console itself with a game, to have enough to buy the Switch OLED system itself. Like I found it on eBay a few years ago. For just the console with no Joy-Cons or anything. Because I didn't want to buy a whole new system. I just wanted the upgraded OLED. And that system is wonderful. But I wanted the Nintendo Switch Lite, obviously, because it is slightly more portable. It has a proper D-pad. I'm honestly a sucker for the beautiful blue, or purple. I got it upside down. Just the form factor and the actual dedicated portability of the system is what attracts me to it. I still am peeved that we never got an OLED model. Why Nintendo didn't give us an OLED Switch? I get that, they wanted to keep price down and everything and, stuff like that. But man, an OLED version of the system would have been amazing. Which I know apparently there's like a modded OLED screen you can buy for this. But they're all sold out and very expensive and, stuff like that. But yeah, so let's see. What do we all got up in here? Doing this one-handed. Tell that I'm a very big professional here on the YouTubes. I don't damage my box. Well, we get your boring pamphlet. Unlike the 3DS that had a stinking Bible version of its instructions. That's all we get. The power brick. And that's it. But hey, at least this comes with a power brick, unlike the new 3DS. Nintendo. But yeah, that is the system, and wow, is that beautiful. Sorry about the dog. Ooh, that is so nice. Yeah, I can't wait to be playing that. I also went ahead and bought a protective kit, which I may or may not be using this rubber protective piece, but I did want the case. It also comes with a card case. It comes with a screen protector. It's like $25 at Walmart. So, you know, not a bad deal. The case seems pretty decent. It looks pretty good. So, you know, figured why not give that a shot. Let's see if I can get this guy open. See what's inside, how it all looks. What do you get for $25 at Wally World? Oh, dang, I tore the box. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, that says. Come on. Yeah, so that's the case. I like the black and white stitching. That's pretty nice. You got the Switch logo there. Got the nice, you know, kind of rubberized handle. Switch logo key handle. That's pretty cool. I like that. Which it is, well, zip tied shut. Well, yeah, let me pause this real quick. I got that undone. And got some nice kind of felt padding on the inside. I thought it said no game card holders, just a protective piece. Some basic instructions and some foam. And oh, cool! I didn't know this actually fit in the bottom. So the game case fits in the bottom, and even has an SD card holder. That's pretty nice, actually. So, you know, $25, pretty nifty. You know, wouldn't say it's the greatest feeling case. Like, this is all pretty mushy. It's not like it's not like a hard material. But, you know, for a starter $25 case, you know, it's not terrible. Doing stuff one-handed is so much fun. I'm making such a mess. This got some plastic on it. Got a cardboard insert. Yep, that's what I expected. It's like your Wii condom from back in the day, if y'all remember them. It's kind of the same kind of thing. It is floppy. I don't know how much I will be using this. I'm not honestly sure. I'll probably get like a clear protective case for this, just so to keep the blue showing, because I do love the blue. You know, if I wanted gray, I would have went with the gray, but I love that blue because it just gives me Game Boy Advance vibes, honestly, or GameCube vibes. You know, both those systems kind of gives me those vibes. But yeah, so you get this too with it. You know, it's pretty thick actually. The grips look pretty comfortable on it. They got a nice texture to them. So, you know, not bad. I kind of wish I had these in different colors, though. Like I said, if you could get colors to match the system, that would actually be pretty cool. But yeah. And there's supposed to be a screen protector in here, which is another big reason I bought this. It was for the screen protector, because for some reason Walmart didn't sell screen protectors separately for the light. They had it for the standard Switch and the OLED, but not the light. So, oh well. And a Nintendo Switch branded cleaning cloth. And a bird, I guess that's their mascot? Some bird looking thing? I don't know, he looks like he's on something is all I can say. He's had some of that special powder from that was real popular in the 70s and 80s and whatnot. And then also, your memory card. Gotta get a memory card. 128 gigs, $20, not horrible. 100 megabyte speeds, 90, so decent card. I know they're a little overpriced, but it's a SanDisk, which SanDisk is, I trust their SD cards. They make really good SD cards. I've never really had issues with them, knock on wood, knock on cardboard. This used to be a tree, so I think it counts. I also like the Mario Kart. on there. And the little toad on the SD card is kind of funny. And the final thing is a proper car charger, which this was like $10. This was $20. This was $25. So, not horrible for the, the accessories and everything. About $50-$60. So, let's see if this is any decent though. Like I said, it was pretty cheap, but I'll tell you if I can get this open. I'm just tearing up all these boxes. Oh well. Just doing this one-handed, it's so much fun. Get some of my anger out with this. There you go. Yeah, get out of here. Sorry if that was too loud. Ooh, is that aluminum? The cable's braided. Yeah, let me do the teeth test. That's aluminum. No. Nah, I don't think it's aluminum. Well, I don't think it's aluminum. I think it's just a plastic, but it kind of feels like an aluminum. But $10, not bad. Nice braided in. I mean, we'll see how this part lasts. My biggest experience with these cheaper cables is this stupid piece always breaks out because of the glue or adhesive they use in here is junk. So I'll see how long this guy lasts. But this wasn't official. Was an official Nintendo licensed product, so hoping for the best. But let's see if this little guy has any power to it. But this really also kind of gives me like PS Vita vibes too. Like that's really what it kind of reminds me of as well. SD card, headphone jack, SD card. Thank God you don't gotta take the back off, like the new 3DSs. I think Nintendo learned after that system not to do that. And it does have some life in it. But how much life? How much? And all the fun setup stuff, which I won't bore y'all with. But it works. It still works. So... D-pad. I do love having an actual dedicated D-pad. That's another big reason to have one of these. If you do a lot of retro gaming and stuff, just having a dedicated D-pad is great. I don't know why Nintendo never made a Joy-Con with a dedicated D-pad. Or with the directional or the D-pad on it. It never made sense to me. Maybe they wanted you to buy this. They forced you. They knew you want that D-pad, don't you, Daddy? You want that D-pad. You have to fork out the money for it. It's special. Oh, sorry about that. Well, I'm gonna enjoy some games on my new Switch Lite and give it a test, see how I enjoy the system. Well, I guess I do need to explain the biggest reason why I decided to get a Switch Lite when obviously the Nintendo Switch 2 is out. And obviously the biggest reason is I'm boycotting Nintendo when it comes to the Switch 2, at least for now. I keep hoping enough people would do it too and get the price to drop down, because honestly I think the Switch 2 is way overpriced, and I think Nintendo has just become a greedy... They rode too high with the Switch, and they've just become insanely greedy with $80 games. Heck, on Amazon, there was a pre-order for a new SpongeBob game for the Switch 2, and it was $90. Like, $90 for a SpongeBob game. Like, what are you smoking, Nintendo? But, I don't want to get too deep into the Switch controversy. I know there's a lot of people... And if you have a Switch 2, that's awesome. If you love it, that's awesome. I mean, I'm not knocking anyone for owning a Switch 2. I mean, heck, I bought my best friend, I bought her a Switch 2 off of, eBay. So the money didn't go to Nintendo. It went to a scalper. But I wanted to get her a Switch too because she really, really wanted one really, really bad. But me personally, if I want to play Mario Kart, I just go to her house. But I'm honestly probably not going to get a Switch 2, or at least maybe not for years and years and years. If there's ever even going to be a price drop, I doubt it. I don't know. I kind of wish enough people would just not get the console and hope Nintendo would be forced to drop the price like they did with the 3DS, because the 3DS originally launched at like 250, and then no one bought it for several months, and it went down to like I think 170 on top of anyone who did buy it. There was the ambassador program where you got free games and stuff and exclusive games, which was pretty cool. But that's one big reason I decided to get a Switch Lite. You know, fresher battery, more compact, more solid system. I feel like the Switch Lite will also just be a much better console for the future, mostly because it is one battery in this guy. You know, one battery that powers it all. The Switch and the Switch OLED, you got 3 batteries powering it. You know, you got 2 in your one in each Joy-Con, and you got your main battery. Then also you have just the Joy-Cons themselves. You know, they kind of wobble, or they can eventually wear out or break over time. You know, just all kinds of stuff like that. Also, like I said, this guy's just a lot more portable. And also you do get, obviously, the D-pad, which is a huge plus. And also, I just love this color. This color is amazing. So those are kind of the biggest reasons why I decided to get a Nintendo Switch Lite in, you know, November of 2025. Is the Switch 2 has kind of killed my enthusiasm for Nintendo. Not my enthusiasm, but I don't know the exact words, but blah blah blah. It's kind of killed my fan loyalty. Not really loyalty. I'm not really loyal to any company, but you know, it's hurt me how greedy they've gotten. So I decided, you know, $200 for a Switch Lite, solid system, monster backlog of games. Like that's something I'm looking at. I have a humongous backlog of 3DS games now, GameCube games, Switch games. I got a huge backlog for Switch games. So honestly, I really am not in any rush to ever get a Switch 2. Not saying I won't ever get one, but it would probably be way down the line if I ever decide to get one, because I just also don't like all the anti-consumer stuff that they're just doing with the Switch. I hate the game key cards. That is the number one reason. Like, price isn't an issue for me. It's more of the game key cards I hate. You know, you're spending $80 for a digital code for a digital game, because I don't buy digital games. I typically try to buy physical only, which is why I'm going back a lot more with a lot. Like, I haven't been buying anything for my PS5. I don't buy games off Steam. I've been mostly going back to the PS2, the GameCube, the original Xbox, the 3DS and stuff like that. I've been going back because there's just so many amazing games on those consoles, and you actually own the games. And back then, you know, on the PS2 and 3DS, you know, games were finished back then. It's not like the day where they would just release a junky broken game. And that's another thing with the Switch 2. I'm horrified of even hacking the system, because there's so much more stuff Nintendo can do to break the console, at least from what I understand, you know, correctly. So, you know, eventually I might attempt hacking this guy and breaking it. Or not. I don't want to break it, but I will probably eventually hack this, mostly so I can hopefully make ROM dumps and hopefully figure out a way to back up, which if anyone knows me on this, how to back up updates and patches and maybe even DLC. If I could back all that up and have all my games, you know, on this, would be pretty awesome. But, you know, Nintendo are kind of a-holes and will brick you for that. Even though, you know, I feel like you should have all the right to back up your games and protect what you've spent a ton of money on. But that's just me. Well, I hope this video hasn't gone on too long, and hopefully you've stuck to the end. I hope all of you have a wonderful day and wonderful night. God bless. See y'all next time. And 64 Punk, signing off.